Hello, I'm Edward Barnfield, and this is called Freedom From and Freedom To from the 2022 National Flash Fiction Day Anthology. Saffron met Bobby in the Builder's Cafe 2 blocks from her work. She'd seen him outside the clinic, of course, but the greasy spoon with its green-painted shop front felt like neutral territory, somewhere her colleagues would never venture, or his. "Hello," she said. "I know you." It was an accidental encounter. Bobby even blushed slightly, coffee spilling over the rim of his mug. He clearly wasn't used to being accosted. "Hello," he stuttered at last. Even when he was just a face in an angry crowd, Bobby had stood out for Saffron. He was younger than most of his peers in the vigil and seemed preternaturally calm, smiling and smooth-faced when so many of them screamed and spat invective. Hollywood handsome, too, like a hopeful plucked from a bus queue for his first feature. Getting close spoiled the illusion. His clothes were almost too clean, too pressed, as though he'd been dressed by his mum that morning, and his calmness, from this perspective, came across as dangerously blank. Still, she manoeuvred them into the corner. "So, what'd you do?" He had a book with him, a yellowing paperback with a spaceship on the cover. She wondered if this was his lunch hour routine, a retreat to a place where no one knew him. I'm a volunteer." Saffron smiled at that. Their conversation ran along the tram lines of the average blind date. They had no friends in common, so discussed holiday plans, career histories. He seemed over-interested in the granular details of her working day, where she had been recruited, the names of the people she worked with, but his inquiries were so clumsy that they were easy to brush off. For her part, she could feel the early attraction fizzle and be replaced by something closer to pity. So much of his life seemed to be decided by others, the family who were central to his values, dressed by his mum, and the organisers who gave him placards and told him where to stand. "I don't understand how you can do the job you do," he said at last. "Being a nurse and all." "It's part of healthcare, love," she said. "We help people with the difficult decisions." He started at that, and she realised it wasn't her cool logic that disturbed him. It was that she'd called him love. She wouldn't see Bobby again. The next week, the local authority imposed a public spaces protection order around the clinic, creating a buffer zone that pushed the protesters halfway down the street. It felt like a fair compromise to Saffron, not just for the doctors and their fellow nurses, but also for their patients, the tired women with their unwanted burdens, who were spared the one indignity at least. She wondered, occasionally, if their meeting had made any impact on Bobby's beliefs or behaviour. Then she decided it didn't really matter at all.